Ireland, in 1798, was a British colony with political and economic power controlled by a devolved Irish Parliament, which was entirely composed of Irish Protestants. Catholics could not vote and were denied civil rights. They were totally excluded from the Irish Parliament. But influenced by the success of the British colonists' revolt in the 1776 American War of Independence and the 1789 French Revolution, some liberal and influential Irish Protestants began to campaign for total independence from Britain and freedom for Irish Catholics. With these aims, they founded the United Irishmen in 1791. A rebellion they planned for May 1798 was a failure in Dublin, where most of its leaders were arrested at the start. Elsewhere in Leinster it had little success. In Wexford, Bishop Caulfield was regarded as a government man and a collaborator with the British. He ordered all Catholics to surrender their arms and be loyal to King George III, the best of kings. In Wexford, a young Catholic priest named Father John Murphy urged his people to comply with the bishop's instructions. He and 757 of his parishioners even signed an oath demanded by their local landlord that they were not United Irishmen. Ireland was then under martial law, which was ruthlessly enforced by the army, with the help of two new armed auxiliary forces, the militia and the yeomen. Both imposed a reign of terror on the people. On the 26th of May 1798, 28 local men were taken into Carnew, County Wicklow, and shot dead by the yeomen. When Father Murphy and his people heard this, and also learned that the yeomen planned a raid on Bull of Og, they decided to resist. Armed with one gun and a few pikes, he and about 30 local men intercepted the yeomen, led by Lieutenant Buckie, as they began burning the houses in Bull of Og. When Buckie and another yeoman were killed, the rest fled. The rising had begun. Who was this man, Father John Murphy, who rose to great prominence during 1798? One of a tenant farmer's 5 children, he was born near Ferns, County Wexford, in 1753. He was educated at a hedge school, and also by the local parish priest, Dr. Andrew Cassin, who had a great influence on him. He grew up speaking Irish and English, and later learned Spanish, Latin and Greek. A splendid horseman, he excelled in athletics and handball. He was described as a good-looking man, stout but rather low-sized and well-built. At that time, students for the priesthood were ordained before they went to study at colleges in continental Europe, as seminaries were still forbidden by penal laws in Ireland. John Murphy was ordained by Bishop Sweetman of Ferns before leaving to study at a Dominican college in Seville in southern Spain in 1780, returning home 5 years later. Father Murphy was made curate in Kilcormac, better known as Bull of Og, where he had a thatched chapel. Catholic churches were forbidden in some Wexford parishes by local landlords. He lodged with a tenant farmer and travelled around the parish on horseback. On Whitsunday morning, 27th of May, while Father Murphy and some local men raided a nearby arms depot and recovered arms and pikes they had previously surrendered, the yeomen burned down the chapel at Bull of Og. That afternoon, as more men joined them, about 1,000 rebels gathered at Owlet Hill. A few had guns and pikes, but mostly had reaping hooks and hay forks. When attacked by a well-armed force of militia and yeomen with cavalry, The rebels defeated them and captured over 100 guns. Next day, Father Murphy with 5,000 rebels captured Enniscorthy in a 4-hour battle in which 100 of them were killed. 2 days later, the rebel army, now grown to some 15,000 men, defeated a party of militia at Three Rock Hill and captured nearby Wexford town, capital of the county. Here they released from jail Bagnall Harvey, a rich Protestant and a leader of the Wexford United Irishmen. He was made commander-in-chief of the rebel army, which was now divided into 3 groups. One was to take New Ross and Waterford, another to capture Bunclody, and the third, under Father Murphy, to take Gorey and Arklow, and Giles his men defeated a strong force